The room fell silent the moment her pen touched the paper. Lena's hand trembled as she signed her name, tears blurring the ink. Around her, crystal glasses clinked softly. Christmas lights shimmered on a towering tree, and laughter hovered in the air, laughter that wasn't meant for her comfort, but at her expense. This wasn't just a divorce signing. It was a performance. Cruel one. And she had no idea this moment would change every life in that room before the night was over. Everyone had gathered for what they called a family Christmas celebration. Velvet dresses, tailored suits, warm smiles that never reached the eyes. Her husband's relatives stood close, pretending sympathy while watching eagerly, as if waiting for a show to end. Across the table, her husband sat calm, confident, one arm resting casually as a blonde woman leaned into him, her hand possessively on his shoulder. The mistress didn't even try to hide her victory. She smiled as if she had already won everything. Lena kept her head down. She had learned that night that dignity sometimes meant surviving humiliation in silence. If you're still watching, stay with me, because what happens after this signature is something no one in that room saw coming. And halfway through this story, I'll ask you something important. Lena hadn't planned for her life to collapse at a Christmas party. She had once believed in love, in loyalty, in the promise her husband made when he slipped a ring onto her finger years ago. But success had changed him. Or maybe it had only revealed who he always was. When his business deals grew bigger, so did his ego, and so did the distance between them. Long nights turned into secrets. Secrets turned into betrayal. When she confronted him, he didn't deny it. Instead, he invited her here. "This will be quick," he had said. "Just sign the papers? No drama." But the drama was exactly what they wanted. They wanted her small. They wanted her broken. They wanted to prove that without him, she was nothing. Lena had no family in the city. Her parents were gone. Her friends had slowly disappeared as her husband's world swallowed everything. Tonight, she stood alone in a room full of people who once called her family. The lawyer slid the papers forward. Her mother-in-law leaned in and whispered with a smile, "You should be grateful. Not everyone gets to leave with their dignity." The blonde woman laughed softly. Lena felt something crack inside her, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. The kind of break that happens when you realize you've been surviving instead of living. She signed. The pen clicked shut, and that should have been the end of her story. But it wasn't. Because just as the lawyer reached for the papers, the doors to the hall opened. At first, no one paid attention. Music continued. Glasses lifted, but then the sound of footsteps echoed slow, deliberate, confident. A man in a dark, tailored suit entered, followed by two assistants. His presence shifted the air in the room. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Lena didn't look up right away. She was too busy wiping her tears. The man's gaze scanned the room, then landed on her. And he froze. "Lena? Lena?" he said quietly. Her head snapped up. The room seemed to tilt as recognition hit her like a wave. It was him, the man she had helped years ago when no one else would. The stranger she gave shelter to during the hardest winter of her life. The man who had promised, with nothing but sincerity in his eyes, "If fate ever crosses our paths again, I won't forget you." Her husband frowned. "Do we know you?" The man smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Oh," he said calmly. "You know me very well. You just don't know who she is." He turned toward Lena, his voice softening. "I'm sorry, I'm late. I was delayed by a board meeting." Board meeting. A ripple of confusion moved through the room. The lawyer stood. "Sir, this is a private event." The man raised a hand. "I'm here because those divorce papers," he said, nodding toward the table, "involve my wife." Silence crashed down like thunder. Her husband stood abruptly. "Your wife?" The man stepped closer to Lena and placed his coat gently over her shoulders. "Yes," he said. "My wife, and the sole heir to half of my global assets." Gasps filled the room. The blonde woman's smile vanished. Lena's mother-in-law stumbled back into her chair. The man finally introduced himself. "My name is Adrian Hale. The name alone carried weight. Billionaire. Investor. One of the most powerful men in the country. The room erupted into chaos. But she said she had nothing. Her husband stammered. Adrian looked at him with quiet disdain. She had everything. She just married the wrong man. Lena's breath caught. Adrian turned to her. You didn't think I forgot, did you? Years ago, before the money, before the empire, Adrian had been a broken man on the edge of losing everything. Lena had taken him in, fed him, listened to him, believed in him without knowing who he would become. She had never asked for anything in return. And now, everything had come full circle. If this moment is hitting you right now, take a second later to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. Stories like this deserve to travel. The lawyer's hands shook as Adrian picked up the divorce papers. These, he said calmly, tearing them in half, are invalid. He slid a new folder onto the table. These are the real documents. The tables had turned. Her husband was no longer the one in control. Lena stood, still shaking, but not from fear anymore. From relief, from justice, from the quiet power of knowing her worth had never depended on their approval. As the Christmas lights glowed behind her, Lena realized something profound. Sometimes, the night you're humiliated is the same night the truth finally walks in. And sometimes, the people who laugh at you are standing at the edge of their own downfall. By the time Lena walked out of that party, she wasn't crying anymore. She was free. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your city below. Your support helps these stories reach people who need hope the most. Because no matter how small someone makes you feel, your moment is always closer than you think.